Their First Date by CrackedInkWell. Read by the Bucket Bros. Part 3, 6:15. The first thing the young stallions saw as they entered was a wide hallway that was filled from floor to ceiling with black and white photos hanging from the walls, the paper protected by simple wooden frames. The only illumination came from aged light bulbs hanging from the ceiling, the yellow beams shining through warped glass. At the very end of the corridor, facing them, was a simple red couch, its fabric worn, but still bright. Besides the sofa sat a little wooden pedestal with a silver tap bell, and a dark blue curtain on the right hoof wall concealed a doorway to another room. Above the couch was a simple sign that read, "Ring for service, wait to be seated." They could still hear jazz music coming from behind the curtain, along with the sounds of ponies talking animatedly and the clinking of china. Record, without taking off his shades, trotted down the hallway with Octave following near behind him.
"It looks like something out of a film noir,"
Octave commented.
What? Oh, you mean like those old detective movies?
Record questioned.
"It certainly has that feel."
The cellist nodded. Sniffing the air, he asked.
"Am I the only one who smells coffee?"
The DJ took a whiff as well.
Yeah, maybe this is one of those coffee houses or something, though I don't know any that play jazz.
By now, the two of them were at the end of the hall, standing in front of the couch. Record looked between the bell and the sign.
There's only one way to find out.
He reached up with the hoof and chimed the bell a few times. Soon enough, a stallion in a tuxedo popped his head out from the curtain.
You rang.
He asked. Record nodded, and the stallion stepped out.
Welcome to the Singing Cat. May I ask why you two are here?
Curiosity, sir.
Octave answered.
We saw the sign and heard the music.
Ah,
The stallion nodded, seemingly as if he understood the situation.
here for the music, I see.
He smiled at them.
It's such a relief that the young are taking an interest in jazz. Would you like to come in?
What sort of place is this?
Follow me.
The stallion told them, before turning back and walking through the curtain. Octave and Record followed the mysterious stallion through the drapes and into a large open room. The ceiling was wreathed in shadow, and from the darkness descended cords from which lamps hung, illuminating each table individually. On a stage at the head of the room, members of a jazz band were playing their hearts out. A saxophone was played by a dark brown earth pony, while a pale green Pegasus was commanding a trumpet. Another earth pony stood in the back with a large double bass, and a white mare stood in front, belting out a song in a powerful voice. Wooden tables with red tablecloths were spaced around the room, each encircled by burgundy cushions. Booths of folks' leather seats lined one side of the room. Most of the ponies were either paying attention to the musicians or to their white cups, while others were talking to each other. They were led to an empty booth, an old picture of Canterlot streets hanging from the wall above them. Once they took a seat, the stallion offered them some menus.
I'm sorry, we've already had dinner.
Record said.
Oh? Did you have any dessert yet?
The stallion asked. The young stallions shook their heads.
Ah, well in that case, perhaps I could... Oh, forgive me.
The stallion started laughing.
I just realized I haven't introduced myself, have I? No? My name is Speakeasy, or simply Mr. Easy. I am the manager here.
Well, nice to meet you, sir.
Octave nodded politely.
May I ask to let us rest for a bit, before we have any dessert?
But of course, I'll have some pony come to you gentle colts in 15 minutes. In the meantime, enjoy the music.
And with that, Mr. Easy left the two alone in the booth. Record took a look at one of the menus that the manager left behind.
You know, this place is pretty classy, for a coffee house.
Octave raised an eyebrow.
What do you mean?
I mean, look at this place. There's a live band, the ponies working here are all dressed up fancy, and oh, yikes! It's certainly a whole lot more expensive than Starbucks.
Octave picked up another menu, and his eyes widened at the prices in the coffee section alone.
30 bits for one cup? You know, I may not drink coffee, but that has to be awfully high.
Wait, you don't drink coffee?
Record asked.
Well, no. Never had a drop. But
Okay, stop right there. You never had coffee? Ever?
The unicorn asked in complete surprise. Octave shook his head.
no. Why are you so surprised at this? Wait, do you drink coffee?
Well, yeah.
The DJ nodded.
I started drinking this stuff about a year ago.
I don't know how you could drink that stuff. It always smells dreadful to me.
It's not as bad as you think once you pour some sugar and cream. I mean, sure, it's an acquired taste and all.
The two of them went silent. The musicians on stage finished their song, and the ponies applauded. A Pegasus on stage took a hold of the microphone and said,
Thank you very much, mares and gentlefolks. Once again, with the wonderful Mr. Sax, we will now be playing a rendition of Deep Purple. Enjoy.
There was applause, and the band began to play at a slow tempo from a piano, and a unicorn stallion trotted up to take his place at the microphone and started singing.
How's your mother?
Octave said, breaking the silence between them.
Huh? Oh, she's alright. Busy as usual.
And your father?
Record sighed.
Haven't heard much in the past month. All I've heard is that he's got a new job in Applewood. You know he always writes more to me than Ma, ever since the whole divorce thing.
I see. What kind of job does he have now?
Well, he says he's learning the ropes and becoming a producer. I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
A producer?
Yeah, he said that he's learning about all the stuff that goes behind the scenes of putting a movie together.
Well, that's good to hear.
Record?
The two colts turned to this new voice. There, in a white apron, pushing a cart of dishes, was a light blue Pegasus with a slick orange mane that was pulled back into a ponytail. He had a hammer and a chisel for his cutie mark.
Hey, dude. I didn't know you came here.
Yo, Chisel,
The DJ smiled back.
what are you doing here?
I work here part-time.
Chisel replied.
I didn't expect to see you in Oct, isn't it?
The cellist nodded.
Close enough, I suppose.
He thought.
Still, what are you doing at this joint?
Chisel asked.
You guys are the first from school that I've seen here.
Well,
Record began to say, but Octave immediately interrupted him.
We came in out of curiosity.
The Earth Pony started, sounding somewhat nervous.
well, yeah?
The DJ raised an eyebrow.
But more importantly, we...
Wanted some coffee.
Octave interjected.
Okay, seriously, dude, what's up?
Nothing.
Octi?
Really, it's nothing.
Chisel chuckled.
You know, if I didn't know any better,
He said.
I would think you two were stallion stuffers on a date.
What did you say?
Record snapped at him. The singing cat suddenly became quiet, and all eyes were now on the three of them.
Dude, chill. It's just a joke, okay?
Chisel said.
You don't have to get all mad about it.
Record shook his head, glaring at Chisel.
Brony, that wasn't funny.
Why should you care?
The Pegasus asked.
It's not like...
Suddenly, he realized that what he had joked about had been true.
Record, you're dating a dude?
Yeah, I am. What's in it for you?
Dude, seriously? I mean, seriously?
Is there a problem here, Mr. Chisel?
Mr. Easy asked, approaching the three colts.
Yeah,
Chisel replied, turning to his boss with anger in his eyes.
I just found out these two are dating each other.
Octave sunk back underneath the table.
Mr. Easy, can't you kick these two colt cuddlers out of here?
Mr. Easy was certainly surprised at this outburst. He looked between his employee and the couple sitting at the booth.
Before I say anything, I do have one question for you two.
Octave gulped.
Do either of you have any money on you?
The owner asked, to which the cellist nodded. Speakeasy turned to his employee.
Not to worry, Mr. Chisel. You won't be seeing them in this establishment again.
The young Pegasus grinned evilly. That was until his boss added,
Mr. Chisel, you're fired.
Chisel's jaw dropped to the floor.
What?
May I kindly remind you of the first rule in working in this establishment?
Easy sternly asked.
It's that as long as the customer is polite and has the means to pay, we treat them with the utmost respect. Your display and behavior does not reflect the rules here at the Singing Cat. I'll make sure to mail your final paycheck. But for now, please get out of my coffee house.
Chisel did so with a snort, throwing his white apron in his boss's face before marching through the swinging doors. Mr. Easy turned to the couple.
I severely apologize for what just happened. That was unfair to you two. I don't think you've ordered yet, have you?
They shook their heads.
For tonight, whatever you order, it'll be on the house. Also, anytime either of you come in, you'll be granted a 50% discount off the whole menu.
Really?
They both asked, surprised at it.
Sir, that is incredibly generous of you.
Octave added.
It's quite alright. After that display from a former employee, you two deserve to have better treatment. Speaking of which, may I take your order?